hear it. You'll hear it. No time. You'll hear it.
I'll tell you.
So many ideas flowing.
Oh man, we're feeling.
We're ideas men.
Man, we are really brainstorming some stuff right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Winners Lounge. Let's go! Presented as always by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. How'd we do tonight, Eric?
The parlay hit.
Man, when the parlay
hit, that's the one that hit.
In doubt.
Jokic points hit. He scored too many in the first quarter. He didn't give enough assists in the first quarter, but the parlay hit.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You can't win them all, as they say. But the Nuggets get the win, 119-105 over the Charlotte Hornets. In what was a game they were trailed by as many as 15, 16 points.
Was a game.
Early on.
Hard to believe.
This was a 30-point turnaround, if you believe it. That's what happened. Thomas Bryant made his debut. Christian Braun made his case for best defensive player in all of the world. Let's break it all down. I got the fellas with me. What are you drinking over there, Vote?
Givoli, gang. That's all we needed. Saturday win, little Rockia. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah, Vote's like, hey, we're all drinking, right?
And then over here we got Harrison.
Man, I'm
Givoli.
drunk off vibes from the bar downstairs, man. What a night at the DNVR bar. Saw some of the homies. Gave a bunch of tours of the studio. Mark Stout of the Rockies was here. It's a fun night.
It was a fun night, man. Vibes were good in the bar. Total Saturday night vibes out here. And then down there on the end, it's D-line.
Guys, I'm back.
You're back?
Let's go!
All it took was a win over the Charlotte
I
Hornets.
was going to say, wow. The
Everyone-
bar is so low for Eric.
Everyone that was browbeating me for having human emotions, all it took was one win. I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
I apologize again for having human emotions. I'll work on that.
Try to tone those down over there.
Yeah, I'll
pal.
work on that.
Yeah.
Let's run through the fast breakdown. 13-2 start for the Charlotte Hornets. They were dominating Denver early. Some of this was lazy. Like Denver was lazy early on, but some of it was just missing shots. In particular, KCP couldn't hit anything. He was wide open all night long.
I would
make it.
trade that guy. He's just kidding.
There was also a bad rhythm. I thought sometimes this happens for Denver, especially when they're missing key pieces. Bad, like missed shots in good process then leads to bad process. You almost get sped up. You get a little a sense of urgency that's not actually there. I thought that was the story of the Nuggets in the first quarter. Jokic did start to get aggressive and started to claw back from what was a 15-point deficit. Thankfully, Jokic went to scoring mode right before he came out, pulled Denver a little bit closer, but it was 34-27 Hornets. MPJ was on the bench. He was the first guy subbed out, and then he didn't sub in until a half possession before Jokic. I don't know if that was intentional by Michael Malone or an accident. I think it might have been an accident because to me it was too long of a break. Like Denver couldn't score.
Yeah.
Jeff Green was out there for a long time, I felt like, and they just didn't get him back in. How many minutes do we get for MPJ tonight?
That's a good question.
32.
32. I guess that's a normal amount of minutes. And then, KCP continued to miss. Nuggets as a team, 1 of 11 from 3. It's
Doesn't
funny
matter.
analyzing basketball, guys, because there's a lot of stuff that you're like, that wasn't good tonight, this wasn't good, but sometimes they just went 1 of 11 from 3.
Yeah.
Once they stopped going 1 of 11 for 3, they
Yeah.
dominated.
Yeah.
There's other things that happened, but that was one major thing. Yoke took over in the second quarter and climbed back to within 3 at the half, 60-57. Third quarter, Michael Porter Jr. had arguably his best dunk of the season. Looked so athletic,
that's it.
pulled sideways, dunked it over like that. It was one of the best dunks we've seen from him, and it's encouraging, man. That athleticism continues to trend in the right direction, and the Nuggets just pulled away. They ended the quarter up 94-83, up 11 points. It felt like it was in control, but the second unit came in, and it was the Ish and DeAndre connection. 3 plays in a row, Ish to DeAndre, 2 for lobs with some nice power dunks. They had a nice little thing going tonight. I thought Ish was good. And then Christian Braun playing defense, man. I thought this was one of Christian Braun's better games of the season. He gets 4 steals, including, I swear this doesn't happen with the Nuggets very often. A player like, you know how you pressure the ball full court? Ripping the ball. This is the second time in the last 2 weeks. He's just ripped the ball handler for a transition dunk.
Yep.
That just shows you how good he is at shadowing guys. Jokic gets a triple-double. Thomas Bryant makes a debut. And the Nuggets get a vibey win. All right, Eric.
That's going to be my takeaway. Thomas Bryant's
Wow,
debut.
that's a reach. D-Line, what was your takeaway from tonight's win?
My takeaway is that even when times are dark, when the vibes are low,
Wow.
when we lost our way as
Yes.
a franchise, when things seem uncertain and nothing is promised, the only thing that we can rely on is Nikola Jokic. He is the star in our sky.
5
He is
p.m. win
the
over
sun in my heart.
Charlotte.
He does what is required. He starts off slow, and then he just comes. He dominates the Charlotte Hornets like you expect. But the thing about Nikola Jokic is that he does what you expect, which is not something you can say for every basketball player that you follow. Like, I just, I personally was like, oh, okay, the Nuggets now suck. What are we to do? Like, everything is falling apart. All of our vibes have been taken from us. We had a vibectomy, but
Gross. Disgusting.
vibectomy.
That's not any better.
I don't like it. I'll tell you
It's
that.
all within the power of Nikola Jokic to set things right. My soul is rested, and I'm ready. I'm back.
I'm glad. Do you know how many people I had reach out to me after the trade deadline and that loss against the Magic that were like,
Make sure he's okay.
I'm really concerned
I know,
about
yeah.
About me?
D-line,
Yep.
and also just like, man, I'm really concerned about the Nuggets. Like, are we screwed? And I'm just like,
They
the
were
Nuggets
worried about
got
me.
better at the trade deadline,
Listen.
then lost the game in Orlando that it was clear nobody on the team really cared about.
Bro, you know what my problem is? One of my problems is
What's that?
I have a face that does not hide emotion.
You're not good at hiding emotion. It's impossible
Very
for you
bad.
to hide
Like,
emotion.
when
I think it's one of your better qualities, actually.
Oh, okay. But
Yeah.
a lot of times I'm walking through life and someone will be like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "It's my birthday and I just hit the lottery. I don't know what, like, I'm having a great day."
Yeah.
They want the giggle. You've established yourself as the giggler on the show.
well,
They're
that's
like,
the thing.
Eric, giggle for us.
That's
You know?
the thing.
Giggle, clown. Giggle.
Make us happy. You're
I'm
sad
giggling,
right now.
look at, I'm giggling right now.
It's always how's the giggle, never how's Eric. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
man.
I like that takeaway with Yoke, by the way. I was sweating it out. He went 11 of 22 from the field. Whew.
Close.
Did not take a shot in the fourth quarter, and I'm telling you, there was a moment he comes back in. I'm like, he's going to blow it.
I know.
He misses a single shot. The game's over. You know, it's not like he needs to. He knew it. Let me ask this question, Harrison, then we'll get to your big takeaway. But I want to ask you this one. Do you think Yoke came in, he knew he needed 2 assists, he knew he was at 50% shooting. Do you think he was like, all right, I'm not going to shoot and I need 2 assists?
I will say 5 years ago, I would have said 100% no. I'm not going to say it's yes, but I'm no longer at 100%.
I honestly am going to go 50-50. He didn't take a shot. There were times.
Sometimes I wonder, Adam.
Lately, he had a couple passes late where he's like at the rim and he's like kicking it for 3.
He's like, I'm at
why
50.
not?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
0% chance he's aware of it.
I would
Wow,
put it at 2. I would put it at
0%.
2%.
0%.
All right, Harrison, what's your big takeaway?
My big takeaway is Christian Braun is
It's a great one.
indispensable.
Wow.
Like,
Actually, it's good.
he is so important to this team, I feel like. Especially on nights like this, when you don't have Jamal Murray and you just need a spark. The energy's low. They were sleepwalking through that first half.
Yeah.
You just need a guy like Christian Braun because he's always going to bring the energy. He's always going to make stuff happen. He had 4 steals tonight. He has like multiple steal games regularly. He's arguably the Nuggets' best defender, I think. And he's just an important part of this team at this point in the season, I feel
He
like.
is now for sure.
Yeah.
No question.
Like, you need him, man. You need this guy playing 20-plus minutes every night.
He is such a big defensive impact player, and I do think there's something to, like, he's a winning player. We know there's one at high school level, one at college level. I honestly think there's something to that. Like, I think that's a big deal. But there's also are you nervous in an NBA game? And he is now 50 games into his NBA season, or in an NBA career. But I just feel like he's not – I feel like he doesn't play like a rookie anymore. You know what I mean? I don't think that the moment is too big. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but I'm with you that I just trust him. I
Yeah.
just trust him to do the job that he's supposed to do, and he does it at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
What's your big takeaway?
Yeah, I've got 2. The first is thank God that was Charlotte tonight.
Oh, boy.
And you know what? That's sometimes the schedule is forgiving. You can play an first half when you're at Charlotte. Second, not a hot take, Flacco, Jokic player.
Yeah, of
Jokic
course.
ball guy. I mean, but more particularly the cutting. And in the last few games, Flacco's actually struggled in the last couple of weeks, but one thing he has done well is he moves very well off ball. And he's kind of figured out, a la Gary in the very beginning, like, okay, I'm not super high on the scouting report and they're forgetting about me, and if I just cut, Jokic is going to give me the ball. or at least someone will slide over. And Vlatko's a really good playmaker, man, as far as like a tertiary connecting kind of playmaker. Like when he has a numbers advantage, I feel good about it. So I just love the way he's moving off ball. And it's something he's done for both units now, that when it gets stagnant out there, he's like, all right, I'll just move, man. I'll make something happen.
There was that one Hail Mary from Jokic tonight to
Yeah,
Vlatko
yeah.
Man.
that looked like it was going 5 rows into the stands, and Vlatko just like jumps up and catches it at the perfect moment.
Sometimes
Those
he's an
two have a
incredible
nice.
athlete.
They got a great synergy.
Yeah,
That
they
was
really
do.
Yeah. It's not a Hail Mary. That was just a deep pass.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like a Hail Mary, though, in that it went so high. Sometimes
Threw it-
Jokic like
threw
lofts
it
it
to a
over.
6'10" guy.
I'm just
With
saying.
long
He threw it
arms.
to a spot.
Yeah,
and
dude,
let
it like
Vlatko go
right
up
in the
and get
bread
it.
basket. Like it turns out it was a perfect pass.
It was,
I mean,
yeah.
it was 1,000% intentional. What I'm saying though is it did go so high, like
Yeah.
it felt like it was going to hit the jumbotron or something, and then dropped right into his, into his claws, into his mitts.
Those two just read each other so well, and
Right.
me and D-Line were saying a couple games ago how the Nuggets just need a minimum of like 2 or
dude.
3 Balkans on the team.
It's because
At all
Harrison,
times.
that's 'cause
I'm into
Harrison and
that.
I read each other well.
Balkans, man. I mean, of course, we've already captured the Serbian audience, though. Do you not feel like we should need to go somewhere else, like capture a new audience?
No, I just mean like
we want the Slovenian
we just need
audience.
it on the court.
You don't
Yeah.
think the Slovenians are watching?
Slovenians, are you in the chat?
They're
Reveal
all
yourself.
silent. They're
Where
afraid
should we
to
go
say.
We
next?
just need
summer.
a FUBU to send us to Slovenia this summer.
My big takeaway here. I mean, I think I would have gone. You guys brought up some really good ones. Christian Braun probably would have been mine, but I'm going to go another direction and say, perusing the timeline the other day and today, it just felt like I could see the fan base a little bit nervous about the Nuggets on the road. And the road record's not great relative to their home
It's
record.
not.
Although I don't think it's that off based even on the good teams. Like they're a little bit below, but not that much.
They're not
I mean,
Detroit, Golden State.
but either way, like you lose to Orlando, they have some of these dud losses on the road, and I think people are thinking, are they not a good road team? I don't know if it's that or not. I would say we don't have enough information for that. What I will say is that it is very clear to me that we are in the dog days. And I think the Nuggets have at Miami and then Dallas. Is that it? And then it's a break.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb and say I think these next 2 games are going to be ugly.
The
Yeah.
dog days.
Probably good take.
I love the dog days of a sporting event where it's like, all right, guys, I'm sorry. I hate to do this to you. You have to go out and play a game that you love and make millions of dollars. And they're like, it's the dog days. I don't want it. It's the dog days. What about the dog days? Yeah.
It's the dog days.
You know what the
That's
dog
relative
days?
to everything. You know this. Like, their lives are also pretty good all the time. And then it's a little bit like, hey, I
No,
would
I
like a
listen-
break. My body hurts. I mean, Jamal
It's just-
Murray's been out.
I know.
Aaron Gordon's been out.
It's
Yeah,
true.
but it's,
Guys are
another,
banged up.
another reason why like a guy like Christian Braun is just somebody who you need right now.
Totally,
Because
man.
he doesn't.
Totally.
He's not far enough into his NBA
Yeah, to
career
be
to,
like,
know about
"Oh."
how you're supposed to act during the dog days.
So true, man.
There's
Every
no-
game for him is like the first game of the season.
All I
still.
know is that there's no the dog days in the NFL. There's only the dog days in the NBA and in Major League Baseball.
Are there the dog days in the NHL?
No.
Really? There's gotta be.
No, I'm telling you. It turns out any game where you could literally lose your life while playing it, there's no dog days.
Okay.
The NHL and the NFL.
All right, I mean, these guys play 2-minute shifts at a time. Let's settle
I
down.
didn't realize we were going here with
Yeah.
Eric. Like, what's going on here?
Listen,
No, and also-
I'm just saying, pull your pants up.
Yeah, pull your pants up. What is that?
Put the big boy pants on.
What are you doing here? Get our haircut here. Hippie, what are we?
We're literally sitting on a couch. Play harder.
But I just think it's the dog days, and there's 2
It is.
games left, and it's Miami, which is always a tough one. I wonder if the team is going to Miami tonight. It's early enough. I kind of imagine they'll fly to Miami tonight.
Saturday night, Miami.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, the team maybe gets a little night out. We know Jokic
Jokic going to that same
I'm
club?
telling you, he likes Miami. This is his
Names
name.
on the list already.
He likes Miami. So
Mark Payne
maybe,
wants to make love in that club.
maybe a little bit of a chance to, relax a little bit. And then you have a big game, I think, against Dallas. And I don't know that Jamal Murray will play in this game. I don't know about Aaron Gordon. We'll see. Some of this feels like they have lingering injuries.
I've got to think Jamal Murray's out through the All-Star break. I've got to think so.
I think that would be smart. I mean, if you think about there's 2 games left, and then after that you get a whole week. So you have a chance to take 2 more weeks off. It'd almost be 3 weeks off in the middle of the season. That's really, really beneficial as long as you don't fall out of shape. As long as you're doing all the training and type of stuff that you need to stay in great shape. It could be a really nice mid-season rest for those two guys in particular, because you hope that there's 4 months of basketball ahead of you after that. And I think that might be there. The one thing I'll say, though, is the Miami game is whatever. It's a test against a good team, and I just always like seeing Denver tested.
Yeah.
Because you don't get to see it that often before the playoffs. But after that, you get Dallas, and that's the one where that one's tough. It's a home game against Dallas, the new-look Dallas team that you might face in the playoffs, and I wouldn't mind seeing how you stack up there.
I wouldn't mind either. I feel like there's been so few real games, like for lack of a better word, where Nuggets are at full strength.
I know,
they're
man.
playing a playoff opponent, a contender that's also at full strength. Like, that's why that Philly game felt so real, because everybody was playing. It was an intense environment. There was so many teams that have come in here, whether it's been like the Warriors or the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell or the Grizzlies, and they've just been missing key guys. It hasn't felt real.
The Nuggets did beat the full-strength Boston Celtics. That came
and that was another one that felt real.
That's why it felt so good, too.
In January, they had a stretch of games where you're like, this is nice. They're getting tested, and they're looking their best ever. They didn't just look good. They rose to the best they had played in some of those games. So you like that. And even, I know this one's weird, but they did the same thing against Philly until the final 15 minutes. Like, again, being up 15 with 2 minutes to go, they were looking like, hey, there it is. That was a big test, taking a big hit and dominating. So I think Denver has. You just want to continue to see it, man. Like, you were greedy. You want to keep seeing it.
You want to watch enjoyable basketball. So sue us.
But I also think, Denver's one of three teams that have taken this regular season more seriously than the rest of the league by leaps and bounds.
You think?
I think so.
I mean, I would agree with you.
Maybe as an organization, I don't know. I do think...
Nuggets.
I think their record, it's not just talent. Like, I think they have a coach who cares very much about...
Oh, I think a coach that cares very much.
I know, like, maybe on the road, not so much. But I actually think Denver's had a little more focus on their process and playing the right way than some of the other teams. So for that reason and the Jamal stuff, like, I think they need the break. You know, I think they've done their job to get themselves here, and they could use a rest.
I got two things to ask you guys. Are you concerned? First one I'm going to start with. Are you concerned with how Bruce has looked as a point guard option over the last handful of games?
Yeah, concerned enough to where I feel like they need somebody else to be brought in.
They have to get somebody else. Like, Bruce Brown is not a point guard. Bruce Brown is a serviceable guy that can step in and play point if needed, but that can't be your first plan. They can't be like, well, we're fine. We got Jamal and Bruce. Like, that's not going to cut it. And Ish tonight looked good, but as has been noted, you can't count on him for reliable contributions from the point guard position.
I feel like Ish Smith, you flip a coin.
Yeah,
you're like, is he going to be really awesome tonight or really terrible?
You can't have that. Wish Smith. Like, you can't have that volatility if you're a real team.
We can't wish it's going to be an Ish night. Yeah. We can't wish. Oh, how I wish it'll be an Ish night. No.
Tonight was, though, for the record, he was an Ish night.
By the way, that's just what a third string point guard is. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, he's a third string, and he's a good one. So you'll get nights where he can do it, but you want other options.
Yeah. So I agree with you guys that I am concerned. We're going to talk about the buyout market here coming up in segment 2. But I would look at that and say that I'm uncomfortable with Denver's point guard situation right now with the absence of Bones.
A little too much of a silly goose for my taste.
That was a lot.
Little too loose.
Little too loose silly, little too goosey.
The other one, this one feels a little bit more hot takey, but KCP feels like he's in a little bit of a shooting slump here. A little mini one. It's like weird to call it a shooting slump. We concerned at all about this rut he's in?
No. I think that's like law of average. He's been too good. He's been so good. And I would think he's probably going to settle somewhere we're very pleasant with. But I've kind of been holding my breath for the other foot to drop. Like, he's hit everything. So, he gets a pass, I think, if it comes back around, and I expect it to.
He's only made 3 threes in his last 5 games now. So he's been pretty cold, but again, dog days. Like, KCP is a vet. It's the dog days. No, KCP's 30 years.
What do you want from me?
He's 30 years old.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely, like, he might
trying to get through the dog days here.
he might be invited to the 3-point competition. He might not. He might have a vacation that is, like, right around the corner. I'm telling you, man, NBA guys, they do have a rhythm where, like, the All-Star break, you go on vacation.
You go to Miami. You stay at that hotel where everybody stays.
The Grand Destino.
Hopefully not the yacht club. Oh,
yacht club.
Jesus. It's got the shakes.
And on top of that, I don't think the average person appreciates the physicality in the NBA. Like, these guys are pretty worn down, and that's why a week or two off is like very enticing. It's like I can't wait to feel good again, for my legs to stop hurting and my ankle to stop swelling and all those things.
Sure.
But I would say I'm not concerned.
I'm not concerned at all about KCP.
Shooters. Very few shooters are consistent every single game. There's highs, there's lows, there's whatever. And then lastly, before we take our first break, Michael Porter tonight. I feel like he redeemed himself late because I thought this was an atrocious Michael Porter game until the very end of the third quarter, where he was in the first half getting dominated by Gordon Hayward. I mean, Gordon Hayward had a nice game, a nice first half. Did not see Michael Porter, was not concerned about Michael Porter's defense, was really taking it to him. And then on the other end, Michael Porter had 0 points going into the half.
Yeah.
He came alive in the second half, but I would say I would just mark it up to this is 2 bad Porter games in a row. Or I should say 6 bad Porter quarters. And then he came out of it.
But a Porter quarter is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Hold on a second.
You know, he has talked about the way he navigates pick and roll defense with his length, particularly with guys like Gordon who like that mid-range pull-up.
Right.
And in the past, he's had success with, like he's either willing to or just does die on that screen a little bit, but he knows he can make up the ground with his contest and make that mid-ranger tough. That has worked mostly this year. That did not work against Gordon Hayward tonight. Like Gordon, like you said, didn't see him, or it resulted in a foul over the back. Like, it was an approach thing that has worked for Porter that just was not working well tonight.
Do you guys want to see the biggest hot take I've ever seen in the chat?
Let's go.
Will you pull up Mess Mays? It's at the very bottom. It was the very last one. He says, Bones will be traded in his career more times than Ish. You realize Ish has been, like, traded... Only like 4 players have ever been traded more than Ish.
Wow.
The thing is if you get traded like 5 times, usually it means you're out of the league. Ish is a rare example of like a veteran that everybody loves.
I mean,
and, like,
to have the career Ish has had,
it's extremely
to
rare.
be traded that many times and to only be 5'5".
Hey, no, careful.
You gotta be
Careful.
You got to be the best locker room dude of all time.
Well, you also need to be able to play.
Right.
He can play for sure. Yeah.
So I would take the odds against Bones Island being traded 14 times in his career.
Wayne, have you ever seen
Take the
Ish hanging out like late in the arena after a game or anything like that? That guy, especially when the Wizards are in town, he's like one of the most loved guys in the world.
Oh, for sure. Mr. NBA?
Mr. Basketball?
Yeah.
Mr. Basketball.
Make him the
So
logo.
dumb. So many inside jokes. All right, let's take our first break. On the other side, though, we are going to talk about some buyout candidates who I think has maybe some inside traction, who I think would fit. Some of those different options. We'll talk about all of those. But while Harrison reads us these ads in his beautiful voice, everybody hit that like button for us.
Yeah, dude. Here's an ad. Hit the like button.
There you go.
It's free.
Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR, they are giving away the ultimate game day experience.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the coolest giveaways that any of our sponsors have ever done. What you need to do is to register. You go to thednvr.com/BreckSweeps, BRECKSWEEPS, thednvr.com/BreckSweeps. To enter, you got to be 21 plus. Link is in the description as well. But they're giving away this Nuggets experience where you get 2 tickets in the Lexus Club, free food, free drinks, you get parking, you get DNVR gear, and it's against the New Orleans Pelicans on March 30th.
This is the best giveaway ever, and it takes like 10 seconds to sign up.
Yes. So go to that link.
Courtside is awesome.
The parking
and
pass, too,
who is it?
man.
The Pelicans?
Pelicans. Good
Man,
game.
Yeah,
Pelicans,
well,
and you get to
if
go
you
in-
get to see Zion up close, man. I've never
man.
seen him up close.
And you get to go into Club Lexus, which I've literally never been near.
Me too. I tried to get in once. They didn't let me
Yeah,
in.
we're
I
not even allowed
saw
in.
one time you have candy that's just a dispenser. You can take as much as you want.
Free candy.
As much as candy as you want.
Candy.
What is this, Willy Wonka?
Yeah, so guys, register for that. 2 tickets, Lexus Club, the Pelicans on the 30th. Parking pass as well. Register for that. The link is in the description. Also, shout out to the American Raptors. Guys, the American Raptors, they play at Infinity Park. They've joined a new league, the Columbia Rugby Federation. Stay up to date with all the news around the American Raptors and their move to the brand new Super Rugby
CRF,
Americas.
The Colombian?
Columbia Rugby Federation. Yep,
right.
It's a new league.
They're playing against South American teams, bro.
Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's incredible.
They're the only North American team in the competition.
There you go.
6 home matches, 6 road matches, free tickets. Follow along at DNVR Rugby on Twitter, DNVR_rugby. Follow along there.
I got a couple things for you guys to visualize here. Kale, if you go ahead and pull up, we've asked for it. We've clamored for it. There is finally a mural of Nikola Jokic
let's
and Rhino,
go.
thanks to the artist Detour. Do you guys see this?
I'm seeing it now.
Do you guys want the bad news? It's a condemned building and it's coming down soon.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
But they just let this
listen.
guy put some murals up, and this guy, I
Let him
followed him from the DNVR Nuggets account today because anyone who's doing the work we've been clamoring
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
Detour.
Detour's done a lot of Nuggets stuff over the years. He's done a lot of murals at the arena too.
Yeah, well, he did paintings on canvases that were handed out and were also used as billboards all over town. This is Denver, one of Denver's proudest, or one of the artists and muralists that Denver is most proud of. He does work all over town. This is
he's
this
legit.
I mean, that's a really good Jokic.
It's
It's
great.
amazing.
you know, he's
Great
a
mural.
fantastic muralist.
How do you think Jokic looks there? Hey, keep it up there. I want to continue to look at it. It's a little regal. It's a little mysterious. I mean, I would say this is, it's like he's looking up at the prize, looking up at that Larry O.B.
Yeah, that's definitely
He's
what
looking
he's
up at the
looking at.
third.
Or
Michael
he's
Jordan.
looking up at like, man, I want that horse.
He's looking up
over
at
there.
his stats.
He's like, oh my
I'm
God.
50% from the field right now.
I gotta not shoot again and just get assists.
Yeah.
Also, as Jokic checked out the game tonight, he was greeted by a teammate
Oh, I love
in a
this.
very traditional Serbian way. Kel,
No
can
way.
we can we please roll the tape? It was a good game. How do we greet? Oh, kiss on each cheek. DeAndre, unbelievable! Look at this. We have. Who is the most Serbian player on the Nuggets roster?
Jokic.
Probably Jokic.
Besides Jokic.
Vlatko.
Probably Vlatko.
You got
He
Vlatko.
at least speaks Serbian.
Maybe it's Vlatko. Aaron Gordon, who gives the three-finger salute.
Yes.
It might be Aaron Gordon.
And then you got
See,
DeAndre
Mr. Serbia?
Jordan, who has the traditional
Mr.
kiss.
Serbia.
Yes.
Dude, Jokic, what an upset if Aaron Gordon won Mr. Serbia on the team. Jokic would be in shambles.
Over Jokic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any other candidates?
No.
Who do you think will be the next Nugget to go to Serbia? We have Gary Harris and Aaron Gordon.
Nikola
so far.
Jokic.
God damn it. Vlatko and
Wait,
Jokic.
no. Did Aaron Gordon go to Serbia?
No, you're right. He did not.
He did not
You're
go to Serbia.
You're
Did not.
right. Where was it he was in?
He was in Egypt.
no.
No,
What was he? I think he was in Prague, right?
Not
he was in
Egypt.
Prague.
He was in
dude.
Prague.
Egypt, bro.
That's literally the wrong continent.
Yeah.
It's also
He was in
hilarious,
Prague.
guys. He was in Egypt for Eurobasket. Come on, man.
I think the next Nugget to go to Serbia will be
Gary Harris.
not counting Vlatko because he
It'll be
probably
Jamal.
goes every summer.
It will be Jamal Murray.
Jamal
You think
Murray.
Jamal will go?
Murray's
Yes.
a good bet. He's a good bet.
He hasn't been yet.
It will be Jamal Murray. I'm telling you.
DeAndre Jordan.
Maybe.
And I could see DeAndre Gordon.
The question is he a Nugget at that point?
So it would have to be before free agency this
Yeah.
summer.
You know what? I think you're right. I'm looking at the list. I don't think anybody's going.
It's Jamal.
I would
dude.
say
It's
Jamal. I would say
I
Jamal.
think it's Jamal. I
It'll
think
probably
that
be like
Jamal's
Zeke
different.
Najee. We'll never hear
Yeah,
about it.
dude. No,
Jokic just doesn't even say what up to him though.
Yeah.
Zeke can't find
Sorry,
him.
I'm busy that
Oh
day.
yeah, Zeke. Zeke just goes over there to
Like
get
I
new
was at
shoes,
the
right?
Dreamcatcher stable. Jokic's like, oh yeah, I was out of town.
Shoots us a DM. What did you guys do when you were out here?
All right, guys, getting it back on track here. So we all think that we would feel more comfortable with a point guard. We've talked a little bit about some of the buyout candidates, but I mean, I honestly think you're looking for that bench unit is going to change so much. Part of what was not cool about tonight is we didn't get to see Thomas Bryant.
Right.
Yeah.
We
saw him at
did.
the- well, thank you, Eric. We saw him at the very end, but we didn't see how he is going to impact that unit. And I'd be curious to hear if Michael Malone always planned to not play him, or if the Nuggets were down 12 and he's like, you know what, I'm not going to put him in this spot. Who knows? But I do think that bench unit is in for a major identity shift. And I feel like Denver's going to have to decide pretty quickly, maybe as soon as today or tomorrow, if you brought in, say, a Reggie Jackson a Patrick Beverly, a Russell Westbrook, somebody of that caliber of player, even those guys, it would change the identity completely.
Yep, good.
But I'm not. That's what I was going to say. But I'm not sure that's a bad thing.
Dude, the bench is terrible. Like, the bench is the Achilles heel of the Denver Nuggets. Like, the bench is where the Nuggets leads go to die. Like, the starting unit for the Denver Nuggets is one of the best the NBA has ever rolled out. And the only reason they ever get into problems is because, like, Jokic is plus 22, the bench collectively minus 20. It's like there's nothing to hold on to here. Like, they don't have anything that they can look to that they established early in the season. Early in the season, they weren't playing Christian Braun. Christian Braun now firmly ensconced in that second unit. They just don't have anyone to run that thing. Right now, it's just a bunch of non-creators not creating with each other. They're all, like, dependent. It's like a bunch of wide receivers with no quarterback. Like, Thomas Bryant is going to be a player that needs to have the ball given to him in his area, and then he'll be able to, as we've seen with his career to this point, like, he finishes at the same rate that Jokic does in the 70s. He's leading the NBA in efficiency. Like, but guys like that need the ball given to them in the right place. He needs a lot of his points come off of dunks, and he also has a good touch. But Christian Braun, like, none of these guys are good off the bounce, none of them. And so you just need to have what the front office has done so far is they address their backup five need that we were clamoring and yelling about the entire time, which actually, like, I was actually off that because I've been really impressed with what Zeke Naji has been able to do when he was actually given time. Like, that's the one thing that I'm, like, a little bit nervous about is, like, are we going to actually hurt the progress of Zeke Naji that we were seeing with the addition of Thomas Bryant? But the one thing I'm positive of is that bench unit has to have a makeover with scoring in mind and defense. And before this, we were getting one or the other, but usually none.
I'll say, Zeke is obviously unavailable, and there haven't really been many updates on him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was out for a little bit, and that might have been some of the calculus here. If it's like, you might have been more worried for that if you felt Zeke was really on the horizon or this or that. Maybe not, but you never know.
Yeah.
Thomas, by the way, I had talking to some people, over the weekend, just trying to get a sense of it. I heard a very interesting comp for Thomas Bryant. Mo Spates. Do you remember him much from the early Warriors dynasty?
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about him besides that bump on his head?
I knew you were going to say that.
You knew that was going to be your D-line. No, but the thing about it is that Mo Spates was like a natural-born bucket getter, but it wasn't always gorgeous. Like, he wasn't like these beautiful little, but he just kept hitting. Like, he would almost throw darts at the rim, and they just always go in. Thomas Bryant has a little bit of that to his game where it doesn't always look. Jokic is this way too, a little bit, where like it doesn't always look gorgeous, but he has the way of always finding the rim on some of those. I don't know if Mo Spates was like a guy. I don't think they ran a ton of plays for him, but I don't remember it. There was just a little bit of pop, pick, short roll, free throw line jumper. I think Bryant has a little bit of that game to him.
That'd be awesome because we've talked so much about how effective he is around the rim. I do think that he has a little touches lost. He's never going to be a high volume, shooter at any range, but I think he is capable in that area. This is a good offensive backup center. Like, it's gonna change things for them. I really wish we could have seen a little bit of it last night. So I'm excited, man. And I don't know, again, if, like, do you run plays for him, or is it just you've got a guy you could involve in simple actions now and it doesn't feel futile,
Run plays for him. I always think when you say run plays, it sounds like, the X out play that they run for Jeff Green. They have sometimes post entries for Yoke. I don't think it's going to be like that, but it's just like, yes, there'll be spots where it's like, hey, the play calls for this pick and roll here, and he's part of that, so he's like one of the top options out of it. Reggie Jackson, to me, is the guy that I keep coming back to, keep thinking about. He's an interesting player to me because he has a great wingspan. I think he has a great, like, heart. Like, he plays with a lot of heart. He plays, like, tough, all of those different things. But he also is, like, a bad decision maker. His dial is always turned up just a little bit too high. My question, Harrison, is could that be? I don't want to say a good thing because I don't think it's ever a good thing. But can it be less damaging to a team that needs someone to take over the lineup?
Yeah, I think so. I think that could be a good thing. And I mean, out of all the rumored buyout candidates at point guard, I feel like Reggie Jackson is just so clearly the guy. I don't really see another one that I'm like, oh, yeah, he makes sense. I mean, you could talk yourself into Patrick Beverley, I think, but he's too risky bringing him into the locker room. If you're campaigning for Russell Westbrook, just stop. That'd be a terrible choice.
Not going to happen.
No way. It's not going to happen. Calvin Booth isn't that stupid.
Do you hear us, Dev? Do you hear that, Dev? Enough.
Yeah. But Reggie Jackson is a veteran who's been there before. He knows how to handle himself. And I don't think you're going to get the peaks and valleys, that you get with this Smith or like a Patrick Beverley type.
See, I actually think
that you would get with Reggie Jackson.
I think you might get some of those peaks and valleys. Like he has bad games, man.
Yeah, he does, but I don't think you need him to do a lot.
Yeah, and we're not talking about. I mean, Reggie Jackson was often the starting point guard for the Clippers in times when they needed somebody to step in due to injury. He was really good in the playoffs 2 years ago and last year. Reggie Jackson's a player that, like, when he was in Detroit, like, they all hated him, and I was like, this guy's such a clown. I swear to God, as soon as he started wearing glasses, like, he got good. Like, he could see. I swear to God.
He could see.
I swear to God. Yeah. He was really good. I was super impressed by him. He was a player that I never had any, like, I was actually kind of embarrassed he was from Colorado because he was, like, not good. And now I'm like, bro, if we can get Reggie Jackson, that sounds incredible. Like, he is a good facilitator. He pushes the action. He can shoot from deep. He's not a guy that you want to rely on to be your number one point guard. And that's like what this really comes down to is that we're in a spot where we just need veteran leadership. We need veteran composure. Shout out PJ. We need just somebody to come in and just like get players, especially young players like a Christian Braun, in the right place at the right time, can get them the ball in a place where they can convert and finish, but they don't have to like be a ball dominant point guard, which Reggie Jackson admittedly can be. But I mean, like, without question, like, that is the guy that I want the Denver Nuggets to get. Patrick Beverley to me is like super volatile. Everybody hates him, and that can actually work in your favor just to be an irritant to the other team, especially like the Suns fucking hate Reggie or Pat Bev. They hate him, which is kind of like I would love to get him for that reason. Like, they'd be like a war.
What, though?
He pushed Chris Paul in the back again, and I would cheer for it this time.
I don't know if I could cheer for
I know is that he like really like vibed up that Timberwolves team at the end of last year. They like won that like
the
ridiculous play-in,
and
like
that's the thing is I think he can be that to that caliber team and not to that Denver caliber.
It's true.
Team.
I just mean like he can bring vibes. Like he can do that. But I mean, like, for me, it's Jackson or bust.
Here's the thing that's interesting is, well, first of all, Reggie Jackson plays 25 minutes a game this year. Last year played even more. Bones Highland played about 19 and a half. Reggie Jackson probably played, if he were to come here, would probably play about 20. I don't think he would play.
At the most, yeah.
I think that's about what he would play because you're going to stagger Jamal with the second unit. So you would run a little bit of Reggie Jackson with the starting unit. Plus, his average will go up just because Murray's probably going to rest some games or whatever. But here's the thing that's weird. I almost am more curious to see him play with Jokic. Everybody plays well with Jokic, and as long as he's not like chucking shots he's not supposed to, he is a quick first step guy. And he does have a really deceptively long reach. And I think like Jokic on some of those backdoor cuts, give and go pick and rolls might actually be really dynamic. I think I'm more high on him in that role than I am on him running the bench.
So you would stick with the Jamal stagger for that reason? You get Jamal minutes with the bench and maybe some Reggie minutes with the starters?
I would stick with it in part because I just think in a playoffs you need to have your one of your two best players on the court at all times.
At all times. Yeah, I mean, there's something to that. Look, Reggie Jackson has some offensive talent, like he always has. So, I mean, how many, 3 guys ever have teamed up with Jokic and not looked better offensively? So, yeah.
He kind of fits the mold, though, is the problem. One of those ones. Look, man, Reggie Jackson to me is not, I mean, he has a little Will Barton to his game. And that, I think he has a lot of talent. Like Will Barton, he can do so many things. Jack of all trades, like can do a bunch of different stuff, but sometimes just turns the dial too far and gets in stretches where you're like, hey, man, that's not it.
I know, but that's the thing. That's kind of the appeal with the bench, though, is it's like, well, they could kind of use someone to try something and a little juice.
Something.
And so can you find a best of both worlds with a little pop from your 1 and 5 there with that look, and then Braun Bruce or KCP or whatever, and Zeke if he gets healthy. Is that a balance, between the two all-out approaches we've seen so far? It's appealing for more than one reason. Yeah.
It's also interesting just to think about the road he's been on. I mean, he was in Detroit for several years. Then he was at the Clippers for several years.
Yeah.
I do wonder, everybody's NBA experience, not everybody, a lot of people's is so different, man. Honestly, think about this. If you go into like the Spurs and then you go from the Spurs to the Warriors and then you go from the Warriors to this Nuggets team, your perspective will be different from someone that went to the Magic and then went to like Detroit for a while. And
Sure.
I think Reggie has been in some crummy situations.
Yeah.
Just in terms of like basketball culture. So I do think there's a chance that he could get to Denver and kind of be like, you know what? This is different. I feel the difference here and fits in that capacity.
Yeah.
I'd love it, man.
He grew up in Colorado, too. He was here from 6th grade through high school and then went to college.
Very
Which one,
Millsapian.
Palmer? Oh, very Millsapian. Ooh.
Palmer in the
Let's
Springs,
go.
yeah. Yeah.
All right.
And also, like, when Reggie Jackson plays in Denver, I always notice that, like, he'll come out after the game, after the locker room, like, well after the game's over, and he's always got, like, 10, 15, 20 friends and family at the games here in Denver.
Yeah.
So I think there'd be mutual interest.
To me, it looks like Denver needs a point guard. Maybe it's somebody else. Maybe it is one of these other guys. But to me, he seems to fit. And the biggest thing, you guys know this, the biggest thing between him and Pat Bev for me, Pat Bev's so little. I know he plays tough or whatever. Reggie's not huge, but he has a 7-foot wingspan. He has one of the longest wingspan relative to body sizes in all of the NBA. Mm-hmm. And I really do think there's something meaningful about that I would just kind of be interesting to see.
For sure.
And then lastly, Reggie does have, not beef, but like he has played, with the Clippers. He's played with some of the high-profile players that Denver's played against. And I just would kind of like, just like you're kind of like, Bones wants to go at Denver. I kind of like Reggie go back at them,
Right, little Clippers.
Can you imagine,
that
by
Clippers
the way?
rivalry take, guys, it's heating up.
Can you imagine if like a playoff game came down to Bones versus Reggie like in a third quarter?
Just don't even say
Sounds
something
sick.
like that.
You
I'm
guys-
sick.
That's funny, man. We can talk about this a little bit.
That'd
Bones
be
the villain.
crazy.
You wanted to talk about it here, Eric. What
Ooh,
do you
Bones
got?
the villain.
Bones has he recorded a live in which he mentioned the Nuggets shipping him back on commercial air flight or a commercial flight, and then he said, "Oh, look, the Clippers, they love you. This is how they treat you." Which, first of all, fair. I don't think the Nuggets loved him at the end. I think that's part of why they put him commercial. It was a punishment. So,
Look, man, Bones is an expert, we know this, at playing to his fan base.
yeah.
An absolute expert. That's why we fell in love with him, or part of the reason why we fell in love with him. And now the Clippers fan base is going to fall in love with him.
No question about
He
it.
knows what he's doing, man. I mean,
You think
he's
there's
playing the part.
There's a little bit of the like when you get with someone new, you kind of put down the old
For
one a little bit.
sure,
Like,
man.
he's endearing himself to Clippers fans
For
by
sure.
contrasting.
I am looking forward to the first time he tries to high-five the crowd and there's no one there.
messed up. Punching down on the Clippers here, huh?
Why not? Why the F not?
What else, Eric? You've been on. I haven't been online tracking Bones actually.
Well, so as more and more details from what actually went down come out, like I'm like, oh man, like Bones is gonna be a villain. Like it's like one thing to have a player that you like, a Monte, a Will Barton, go to another team, but like Bones is gonna end up being a villain, which sucks. Like it's the thin line between love and hate. It's like I just feel like Bones is literally like he said something like that he's gonna make them pay for.
Oh yeah.
Where
did he say this? He tweeted?
He tweeted it. I mean, it's just this, you're like, man, why it doesn't have to be like this, man? Like I hate this.
But it is like this though.
It is like this.
It's gonna be like it do be like that sometimes, and right now it do be like that.
It'd be like that.
The thing
right
I'm
now.
wondering though, Eric, is all right. Let's say when do the Nuggets play the Clippers next? Because when that game happens, I actually play them coming up February 26th in Denver. By the way, Bones is coming back by the end of the month.
I hope that he does the
That
same
game
thing.
is on ESPN.
I hope he does the same thing, but like to receive boos from the crowd.
Well, first of all, man,
Go full heel turn.
He's going to get a lot of boos, for sure.
We're actually not even sure if he'll play. I mean, like, we'll see if he's in the rotation tomorrow night. But my point is, we've seen Yoke have these games we've seen the Nuggets in general have games against former foes and just not be up for it to the same degree. I mean, Nurkic is the loudest example of this. But we've even seen Malik Beasley, like, giving Denver the business.
Yep.
Everyone seems to not care. Will the Nuggets care on February 26th when Bones Highland returns to Ball Arena?
Yeah.
I think they'll care because of the Clippers. And I actually think that I do think that Jokic and Murray will care.
Bones talks too, like not just now that he's a villain, like in practice and in 3-point competitions. And we know how competitive Jamal is. I promise you there have been moments where those two have been jawing in practice.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, man. There might, I just think that they know that Bones is going to get up for that one. I could see Jamal especially with a little bit of a, hey, man, here's how it always was,
Yeah, I agree.
That game, I can't believe it's coming up so quick, man. I honestly had not looked at it, but there it is, February 26th. You come back from the All-Star break, you go on the road for 2 games, and then and that's a Sunday game, by the way, so hopefully a great atmosphere there at Ball Arena. 8 o'clock tip, ESPN game.
ESPN.
Let's take a break on the other side. Super Chats and Around the Association to round out your weekend.
NBA fans, it's time to bring the hoops action to the palm of your hand with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. This week, new customers can bet $5 and win $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all new and existing customers get a no-sweat same-game parlay every single day. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now with code DNVR. New customers can bet $5 on the NBA. Get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA with code DNVR. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Also, shout out Backus and Shanker. When you get hurt, Backus and Shanker is here to help. They win for Colorado families. They've been doing so for more than 25 years. And with Backus and Shanker, they are free until they win your case. No fees while they're working on your case. No fees unless they win your case. They've won over $1 billion for their clients. Neighborhood offices in Denver, Aurora, Englewood, and Fort Collins. Backus and Shanker helps with all kinds of injury cases where you weren't at fault. Car accidents, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrians, trucks, whatever you need, they can help you if you're injured at work as well. Call them with the easiest phone number ever, 222-2222. 222-2222 to find out if you have a case for free. Backus and Shanker wins.
Let's go around the association here quickly, fellas. The first game I have on here is Lakers-Warriors. No Steph Curry, no LeBron James. Nationally televised game on ABC. So
the Lake-ish versus the Warrior-ish.
Welcome to the NBA. And this was the debut for D'Angelo Russell, who has 10 points on 4 of 10 shooting to go with 5 assists. And also Jared Vanderbilt, who, according to my timeline, very loved right now by Lakers fans.
Of
They're
course.
Vanderbilt's the guy that is just good enough that people like us know him and being here. But Lakers fans who they don't pay attention that deep, they're kind of like, man, this guy's good.
Vanderbilt,
nobody told me.
8.7 rebounds, 4 assists.
Those first 2 weeks, you're like,
in
this guy
13
gets
minutes,
every rebound.
-2 though.
Malik Beasley 0 of 5 from 3 in his debut.
Oh, man.
I'm sure
They
that'll
should
pick
probably
up.
trade
Malik
him.
Beasley is so happy he's on the Lakers, man.
That was, by the way,
that's
that's a
all he
match
ever.
made in
That's all he
heaven,
ever
yeah.
That's a
wanted
lock,
to play
right?
on the Lakers.
It's actually going to be terrible.
We used to joke about that 3 years ago.
The 76ers beat the Nets in a comeback win. Joel Embiid had 37 points and 13 rebounds. But the story was the Nets, man, this Nets team is really good. They got a bunch of somebody I saw on the timeline compared them to the 2013 Denver Nuggets. I think that's a perfect one where you trade away Melo and you get back a bunch of good players. It's not a championship team. And the number one thing is, that in the clutch they're going to struggle. Well, what happens in this game? They were up the whole game and they blow it in the fourth. They get outscored 25-16. Couldn't score in the clutch because they don't have a go-to score guy. And
I know.
They should go down to KD.
What, James Harden?
But
The Nets are just NBA Twitter's favorite team, though. Like Dinwiddie, Finney Smith, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges,
People can't
man.
wait.
Just a bunch of 3-and-D switchable guys.
This is my kind of team. Mikal Bridges.
Nick Claxton.
here's the story, though. Ben Simmons, 16 minutes.
Off the bench, man.
Cam Thomas, 18 minutes. Cam Thomas coming off of 3 straight 40-point games.
They trade away
make
Kevin
trades.
Durant, and Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons can't even get a start.
Bro, the reports coming out about Ben Simmons, man, that guy,
I think it's over, man.
I think it's over, too.
I think it's done.
The reports are insane about him. The Heat beat the Magic, Denver's next opponent. They got a road win down the road over the Orlando Magic. Tough place to win, that Orlando.
Everybody's just wanting to go to
Thorny
Disney World.
Magic.
Bam Adebayo, 13, 17, and 6. Really nice game for him. This Miami game should be interesting on Monday. Excuse me. And then we got the Wizards beating the Pacers Halliburton back, but they still can't right the ship, man. The Pacers they're like the Utah Jazz of the East. Remember how excited we were for
Their
a while
season's
there?
gone.
Dude. It's a great
Same energy over there. Monte Morse had 17 points. A little
Attaboy.
very balanced scoring effort there. I see over there.
Monte.
Denny Avdia,
Mr. Wizard.
Big Monte.
16, 6, and 3. My guy, just going to shout it out. And then the Hawks beat the Spurs 125-106. Spurs might not win again the rest of the year, you guys.
They're
Yeah,
mad they
that's
won
fine with
any
them.
games
They,
at all.
did you see that double overtime game against Detroit?
Yes.
Zach Collins, 9-5.
Hey, man,
Oh,
Zach Collins.
Is the deadline over?
The Knicks beat the Jazz at Madison Square Garden. Jalen Brunson had 38 points. Are you guys pro Jalen Brunson?
Yes.
Yeah, I like Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, I like him.
And now
I'm a
he's
fan.
got his buddy Josh Hart.
Do you see how happy Josh Hart is to be a Knick?
Dude, I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I actually think it's cool that those guys are reunited. By the way, Hart in his debut, 11.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals, and 2 of 3 from the three-point line. That's
the ultimate Josh Hart.
He's
all right,
Mr. Nick.
all right, hold on a second. We got to clear out. I got to clear out here for a second. Hart had the worst shooting year of his life in Portland. Gary Payton wanted out.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to rag on Dame Lillard because I actually really like Damian Lillard. But it's weird to me that so many guys seem to want out of Portland.
You would think that'd be a place where everybody would love playing.
The literal whitest city in America.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this part of the Portland part of this. I'm just saying Dame seems to me like a great
Denver's
leader.
next up.
Everybody speaks very highly of him. Yeah, everybody seems to want out, and there's a little bit of the anti-Jokic thing going on with Dame, where everybody goes there to have their worst years. Everybody comes to Denver has like career years. Everybody goes there.
Yeah. It's
Like,
just always
is
raining.
this too hot?
Do you think it's the crushing
hang out
futility
downtown.
of just like, oh, I know how this season's ending.
I love
Not in a
I love
title.
that Jeremy Grant left the Nuggets to go to the Pistons.
Jeremy Grant is
and
definitely
now-
leaving Portland this summer.
Man,
right?
he's gonna do him just like he did Denver.
Dude.
Have you seen these reports?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to offer him the extension after the season, and he's going to sign it. Hold your horses on that. Like,
Man.
hold your horses.
And then last week we have the Cavs beat the Bulls. This one's not a surprise. This is actually the games. The slate kind of sucked tonight, man. None of these games are interesting.
We did forget to do DraftKings Sportsbook King of the Game.
We didn't do the king of the game.
We have not done the King
Who
of the
was
Game.
it? Let me guess.
Oh,
Big
another
15.
enormous crown. Look at that.
guy's
30
good.
points, 16 rebounds, 10 assists, triple-double, number 20. By the way, new career high, 20th triple-double.
Just so you guys know,
Wow.
I was gonna guess Jokic.
You were going to guess here. How many is he going to end up with, Eric?
Let's see. How
He's
many?
at 20.
20 Kings of the Game?
No, triple double.
Oh,
Triple doubles.
No, we're not counting those.
How many games are left?
We did used to count those.
25
We did used to count those.
game balls.
25 games left.
25 games left.
He will average a triple double, meaning he will get a triple double every game for the rest of the year.
That's not how averaging works.
No, but I mean, like for Jokic, it actually means that. Like
Because they'll just be 10 the rest
that.
of the way. He has
It's
7 to
it's the
spare.
damnedest thing. As soon as he actually got over that level, like he's had a triple double every game since.
He
So I
will wind up with
He didn't have one last game, but
35
He
triple doubles.
did.
35.
Six assists.
Well,
35.
whatever.
25. So he's at 20 now. 15 out of the last 25.
That's conservative, I feel like.
I'll bet you he rests 5 games down the stretch. That's my prediction.
Oh, that's true.
So I'll bet
He's
you he
got
has 20
11 in
games
his
left.
last
How many are you
14
gonna say?
games.
How many games are left again?
Play it in the chat too. I'm curious. He has 25 games left. He has 20 so far.
I say he gets 10 more.
10 more. So you think 30?
30.
I'll go 13 more.
He's got 11 in his last 14 games.
I'm going to go 13. Ah, man, you know what? You're right. I'm going to go 13 more. I think there's going to be some clunky
Every
games
game he
ahead.
plays, he's going to get one.
I mean, it does feel like that at the moment. All right, let's get Super Chats. Last segment here.
Freddie, not gonna lie, I was kind of worried in the beginning. Joker took over, then MPJ redeemed himself. Great win.
We needed that.
It was almost terrible.
MPJ came out so like just carrying out
Blech.
that energy
Yeah.
from last game, and then it was like something he's like, all right, I got to grow up. I got to be a goddamn professional. And then he like locked in. He looked great in the second half.
Saw that first shot fall and locked in. Blair chiming in to say I was at the arena tonight and there were so many Nuggets fans. You know, we heard the same thing about Orlando. Nuggets fans traveling. It
Hell
felt
yeah,
like a
dude.
home game, says Blair. Gaining respect.
Let's
go
go,
Nuggets.
dude.
Let's
LFG.
go,
Hey,
Blair.
by the way, we didn't mention this, but David Thompson in the stands. I mean, I really love David Thompson.
You got a sick jacket on, too.
He had a
David
really
Thompson
sick
is the,
jacket,
he's
yeah.
like I mean, I think I would still probably look at Alex English as like the quintessential Nugget, but like David Thompson is like the coolest.
100%.
Like
He's got this mystique
yes,
about him.
he's got a mystique
You just
about
see
him.
him pop up like once a season.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I do
In
think
Charlotte.
this is no, knock on Alex English. I do think David Thompson was the better, like, peak. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he was the greater player,
just
but
played
he burned out.
Yeah,
you know?
and he also played in other places more than Denver, right? Like, well, I don't know what the breakdown of his career was, but
I think
he
it
had
was
like
mostly Denver.
I don't mean like he played in other places more than Alex English did.
Did he?
I actually don't know that.
He played in Seattle the last 2 years of his career, but the rest of it was in Denver.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, it was a tragic downfall or whatever. But I mean, he is. When I talk to the old timers, man, about the Nuggets, they all talk about David Thompson. Like, oh no, I loved Alex. I love Fat
Yeah.
Lever. I love Calvin. Like, they love those guys and they love that team. But they'll always tell you I saw David Thompson, this or that, and it's always a big deal to them.
Dude,
so.
we have one Nuggets jersey hanging in our bar, and it is a David Thompson jersey right over the bar itself. It's the coolest thing about us.
I love that he always goes to that game, man.
Yeah.
Tyler Peters chiming in $5 because I still feel drunk from that MP jam.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That
It's actually pretty sick.
Dude,
Delicious.
Michael Porter's high school dunks, like when you watch his high school, he was so freaking
just,
athletic,
just
man.
so people
Yeah.
understand, if there weren't 3 back surgeries, that's what it would look like.
He would
all,
look-
all the time.
Who would he be athletically, man? Like, I'm trying to think.
I mean,
I remember
Kevin
when I was
Durant.
talking to the Nuggets front office. No. Kevin Durant is longer, but I remember a front office person telling me, like, MPJ is significantly more athletic than Kevin Durant.
Well, his senior year of high school, he was unbelievable, man.
I'm telling you, he used to get up. He has a foul line dunk when he was a freshman in high school in a game, like
Yeah.
Vlatko.
I mean, I think we even saw it before the 3rd surgery.
Yeah.
5-5-5-5-5-ish. Let's go. Another win down. Only 11 more wins till 50 wins. And the Nuggets 2.0 led West. Let's go.
It does feel good to be back on
I
track,
love those
man.
chats.
It does.
That's how you know it was a
We
good
had
night.
one bad game.
Ryan Kelly. Someone else made
We're
a
like,
trade.
It was the
Finally
Orlando
back.
Magic.
A
No,
game just
listen,
nobody
I was
on the team
the
cared
lowest
about,
of anyone
obviously.
in the United
Well,
States
Eric,
of America.
how about a little more perspective? Ryan Kelly, there are only 2 teams in the West that have a winning road record, and the Nuggets are 1 game below 500. With a heavy road start to the season, this is a non-factor.
I like it. I tend to agree.
Yes.
I would say I'm more encouraged by how good they are at home than how much they struggle on the road by a lot. Francis, Vlatko looks more aggressive when playing with Jokic, while with the bench, he passes up looks he would take and is always looking to make the perfect play instead of shooting shots he'd take with Jokic.
I think that might be true, but I think most of it is when you play with Jokic, it's easier to be in rhythm.
Also, you just
Vlatko
cut.
has just also looked really aggressive this year, especially with his shot.
Yeah.
Like, he shoots it more than he did in years past.
I have a prediction.
Also, nobody knows what to do on that goddamn bench.
I know, it's so
Nobody's in
true.
charge.
Yeah.
Coming out of the All-Star break, if they do pick up a point guard, they just need to, like, throw out the book. This is a new group. Like, let's forget everything. I will say this. I think Vlatko has a great chance of being ahead of Zeke and Jeff coming out when all the dust
This
settles.
is the injury Zeke has every year that
so
just takes
sad.
him out of the rotation.
so sad.
But good
It's
for
kinda
Vlatko.
true, man.
Happens every
Good
year.
for Vlatko. He's earning it. Kim Moss, love you guys. Thanks for increasing my Nuggets IQ and letting me hang with you.
Thank you
Love
for
you
hanging
too,
with
Kim.
us.
Thanks for hanging,
Kim
kid.
was posted up with us all night.
Fly
Yeah.
Jacket. Coralie, that's a sick name. A DAJ dunking masterclass was not written into my planner over breakfast this morning.
He did have some nice dunks tonight.
You know
He
what?
did, man.
The vets played well. Even Jeff Green.
Yeah, he
The
wasn't
bench
bad.
pulled
Yeah.
together.
Wait a minute. You do a day planning on a Saturday? Like,
Enjoy your weekend, man.
Yeah, put the
During
day planner
breakfast?
away, dude.
Jesus.
On Saturday.
Chelo Ramirez, if they want Reggie so bad, why didn't they include him in the trade? This is the best show. Hope the cease and desist goes in your favor with the other people.
Yeah.
And fake.
No, if they get Reggie Jackson, you can just think about it as the Nuggets traded Bones Highland, Dave Von Reed, and 1 second-round pick for Thomas Bryant and Reggie Jackson.
Well, and by the way, the reason you couldn't is because he made too much money. Like, trades have to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's rules to trades.
Yeah. And there's more coming with that other thing, too. We're just not talking about it, but that shit's not over.
By the way, what did it take for the bench to play well? Maybe it was going up against Bryce McGowan's JT Thor, Nick Richards. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm just saying.
Could have been.
I'm just saying that's a
Could have been.
If I told you, name the 4 players off the bench tonight for the Charlotte Hornets.
No, I wouldn't even. Especially because I'm live
did-
on,
you asked me to
on the air.
name
I would have
the-
said like Miles Bridges.
If you asked me to name the 5 starters for the Hornets, I'd have a
Actually,
hard
let's
time.
play it. Let's play
Okay,
a little
let me
who we
think.
play for. Hold on. How many players that played tonight for the Charlotte Hornets can D-Line name?
Okay, let's start.
Clip this, Kale.
I like the LaMelo Ball, right?
He got
He
one.
played. Yeah, he played. He started actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
man, I can't wait to see. I think he's going to get 3.
Okay, then Gordon Hayward.
Got it?
That is correct.
I think
He was
there's
in the
one more
lineup.
you're going to get here.
Let's not count our chickens before they hatch on that one. Let's see. Did Mason Plumlee play?
Nope, he got
didn't
traded.
play. Okay. Reggie Jackson. I'm out, guys. I literally don't
You
know.
know Terry Rozier?
Oh, scary Terry.
Scary
of course.
Terry.
And then you might have remembered Dennis Smith Jr. played
Dennis
tonight.
Smith. If I thought about it
He
hard
played
enough.
27 minutes tonight.
Yeah.
Dennis Smith Jr.
All right, what else we got?
I was like, God, that's Dennis Smith Jr.?
There's a lot of like, every time you play a team like that, you're like, oh, whoa, what? Like that guy's still in the league? Like,
I know.
I mean, to be fair, this Charlotte Hornets team, man, like,
yo, it's
They are the
Listen,
worst team in the East.
not the NBA. Who's worse than them?
the Spurs.
I think they might be the worst in the NBA.
They're not the worst.
sure
Oh,
looked
no,
like
the Houston
it.
Rockets.
They
Remember
have
the
2
Rockets
more
lost, like,
wins than the Houston Rockets.
The Houston Rockets lost like 18 in a row
Hey,
there for a stretch.
LaMelo Ball is really fun to watch because he does cool stuff with the ball, but he is a top percentile horse shit shot taker.
Oh, God.
He is.
Yeah, he's just the Hornets don't play real basketball.
No.
And LaMelo Ball is an unserious player.
Dude, he'll
at
put
this stage in
anything
his
up.
career.
Every time that he laces them up, he's like envisioning Lonzo and
ahead, Kim.
the third one. Who's the other ball, bro?
LiAngelo, bro.
He's just
Jello
imagining,
ball.
Yeah, he's imagining Zoe and Jello in front of him.
Zo.
Just hucking up shots.
It is a
whenever he
weird
gets
place
up.
for Wemby to go. I feel like of all the locations,
Oh,
that's the
that'd
one
be
that-
bad
that's-
for him. And
The
Houston
NBA
would
will
be
do
I
bad
think
for
it would be
him.
everything in
bad
their
for the
power to make
NBA.
that happen.
I
Yeah,
hate to say
The
that.
NBA
As a
needs to-
champion
yeah.
of small markets, I'm not going to go
The
there.
NBA, if they know what they're doing, needs to angle him to San Antonio.
I'm not going
if
to.
they know what's good for him.
I have heard front office exec. I'm not going to say for which team. Front
Denver.
office exec
Is it the Nuggets?
The Nuggets.
That's who
My
we
first
talk
guess
to
is
the
Denver.
most.
Say, I hope he goes to the Knicks. Why? So much money for everybody. It's so good for the league.
Yeah, actually, if the NBA really knew what they were doing, he would go to the Knicks or the Lakers.
They
They'd
can't go
just,
to the Lakers.
They
Can't
would
be
just
there.
find a way to get him to the Lakers.
All right, that does it for today's show. Thanks for hanging out with us on a Saturday. I would call this a fairly unremarkable win. The last one a fairly unremarkable loss, but
Yeah.
hey, that's the life when you're on the road and the dog.
Dog
That's
days.
the life.
days,
The dog,
man.
the dog days.
The
of
dog
Can you believe it?
days.
We've already hit the dog days of the NBA. The also known as the midpoint of the goddamn season.
Eric actually hates the
I hate
NBA.
my hatred for the NBA is growing so strongly this season. Like it's different
This
when
is the
you
last
are in a
thing we'll say on
position
the
where
show.
you're like fighting and clawing for every minute, for every win, every speck of respect. You're like, we can do this, guys. We can do this. And then when you're in the driver's seat, you're like, oh, just rest them. Good shit. It's just regular season. I'm like, what is this? It's unreal.
Well, what a good note to end on.
Yeah, have a great weekend, everybody.
Let's go.